Hello, fiber friends. Today is my very favorite holiday. It's Distaff Day. Every year, Distaff Day happens on January 7th. That's the day after Epiphany, which is also known as 12th night for being the 12th day after Christmas, or the 12th day of Christmas. Historically, Distaff Day was the day that women picked up their distaffs and got back to spinning after all of the excitement and merrymaking of the Christmas holiday. So far, this day isn't getting as much attention as Christmas or Halloween, and while I particularly enjoy celebrating holidays that are not grossly commercialized, I kind of also would love to walk into my local grocery store and see the seasonal aisles full of distaffs and bins of wool with displays of spindle whirls. That is an alternate timeline that I think could be amazing. So if anyone knows how to get there, please let me know. Today I am celebrating Distaff Day and I'm inviting you to join me. This is the third Distaff Day video I've had on my channel. Each Distaff Day video has a different topic related to Distaff Day and distaffs. So I invite you to watch the other videos if you haven't seen those. In my first Distaff Day video, I made a wrist distaff using some leftover yarn and some craft beads. It was a really easy DIY project for making a distaff. So if you've ever wanted to try spinning with one, I highly recommend giving that a try because you probably already have all the materials on hand if you do anything with yarn. In my second Distaff Day video, I talked about the famous Saint Distaff Day poem by Robert Herrick, written in the 1600s, and why I really think that whole poem was meant to be very tongue-in-cheek. In today's video, I want to tell you about some of the deeper Distaff Day history I've discovered beyond the Distaff Day poem. It's really fascinating and I can't wait to share it with you. But there is something else I do in preparation for Distaff Day every year. All throughout the year, every time I spin, I pinch a bit of fluff off my fiber supply and stick it into a display case. Then on Distaff Day, I card the whole thing up and create a bat representing all my spins of the year, which I load onto a distaff, of course, and spin to create a yearly skein of special, sort of a yearly commemorative yarn. For today's Distaff Day spin, I will be using my Viking Age Lundbreen Pass distaff replica. I will also use a Viking Age replica spindle stick and whirl. So possibly, I might be spinning in a similar way to what a Norse woman may have spun on her Distaff Day when she got back to spinning. We don't know for sure because we don't exactly know how everybody spun and what techniques they used, but it's always fun to imagine. I've been spending so much time lately researching Viking Age Norse textiles in preparation for my apron dress project. I got the most incredible Icelandic fleece for that project. I am going to spin it and weave it and sew a dress from it. I can't wait. So excited, but if we get talking about that, this is gonna become Distaff Week instead of Distaff Day, so we better stay on topic. But through a lot of my research looking into very old customs surrounding textiles and spinning, particularly in Europe, that's where I've been researching, I've discovered that it's possible. Distaff Day is much, much older than that famous, to spinners anyway, Saint Distaff Day Robert Herrick poem. I'm excited to share some of the things that I have discovered in my research. So, let's get spinning! Oh yeah, but you know, like the other spinning. Distaff Day is a reclaimed holiday of sorts. Modern spinners were thrilled to discover a specific day historically dedicated to the distaff, a tool for spinning, and have claimed this day for celebrating the craft of spinning. In the times before the global panorama, the global panini, Distaff Day was often celebrated with spin-ins and spin together or spin in public events where everyone gathered to spin in community with each other. Often at those events, the history of Distaff Day was discussed. As it was explained to me years ago, Distaff Day was the day following the festivities of the 12 days of Christmas. It was an indicator that the feasting and merrymaking was complete. Twelfth night, or Epiphany, was over, and it was time to resume the regular household work, spinning, of course, being a part of that work. Therefore, women returned to their spinning and picked up their distaffs on St. Distaff Day. An interesting note, however, there is no Saint Distaff. The only place I could find such a named person was in Robert Herrick's poem titled St. Distaff Day. Perhaps giving Distaff a saint's name was just a joke, or perhaps the joke worked because the day itself had a cultural importance on par with other saints' feast days. More about St. Lucy later. So this idea got me thinking. Sometimes when we are examining something, we forget to look at what isn't there. And in this case, what isn't there is the spinning on the days leading up to Distaff Day. Was the lack of spinning simply because people were too busy hosting holiday festivities? Or perhaps there was another reason. This research rabbit hole led me to read a fascinating paper written by Miriam Menseh, who is the professor of folklore studies at the University of Ljubljana, Slovenia. Her paper, titled Mythical Beings Punishing the Breaking of Taboos on Spinning, talks about a multitude of folk stories from all over Europe that share a common thread. Don't spin on certain days, or you will be supernaturally punished by the offended mythical being. Some of these punishments might involve the flax being destroyed by being tangled or trampled, the defiant spinner being boiled alive until they were unalive, which is actually a fitting punishment when you think about the fact that after spinning flax, the linen skeins of yarn must be boiled in washing soda before being used for weaving. Some other punishments involve the spinner being forced to spin a ridiculous amount of flax, like 12 whole stricks, in a single night. That one gives me some Rumpelstiltskin vibes. These tales about taboos on spinning were widespread throughout Europe, and by far, the most common time for the spinning ban among all these tales was Christmas Day through Epiphany. But while these stories hold the common theme of supernatural creatures enforcing a Christmas time ban on spinning, the details do vary from culture to culture, and I want to acknowledge those nuances. For instance, in Germany, the period of no spinning allowed began at Yule and continued through Epiphany. In Denmark and Scotland, spinning was forbidden from Christmas through New Year's Day, but some parts of Scotland forbade spinning all the way through Candlemas, February 2nd. In other places, especially among Catholic Slavic areas, as well as Sweden and some of the other Scandinavian countries, the taboo on spinning began on December 13th, St. Lucy's Day. The old tales say that as St. Lucy roamed around on her feast day, she would smite anyone she caught spinning by using her own spindle to blind them. This is an interesting twist on the story of St. Lucy, who, according to Christian traditions, was blinded as she was martyred for her Christian faith. It seems that often these folk tales have origins in the Indo-European religions and traditions that existed before Christianity spread across Europe during the Middle Ages. As was often the case, people blended old beliefs with new ones, and in that way, the stories survived. Besides that, I think if spinning is your perpetual, lifelong daily task, a few required days off would be welcome. And who doesn't love a good and entertaining story to tell? Hundreds and hundreds of years later, here we are, still celebrating Distaff Day with actual distaffs. The question that I'm putting out there today is to ask if you know any forbidden spinning time folktales or customs. The research I was able to find focused on Europe, but I'm also interested to know if these types of tales are found in any other non-European cultures. I would love for you to share your stories in the comments and let me know, how do you celebrate Distaff Day? I think it's a pretty fitting way to celebrate a spinner's holiday, don't you? Spinning tales while spinning yarns. So far, I've spun one full spindle stick full of yarn, and I have about half of my bat left to go. So I'm going to go work on that spin, but here are the links to the other Distaff Day videos on my channel if you would like to check those out. And as always, remember to look down in the description for resources and links to all of the things that you have seen in this video. I wish you all happy spinning and a merry Distaff Day.